don't know if they're going to be there. It's one of those games that is incredibly difficult to predict.
Yeah, and that was the question we had on Inferno as well, right? When they headed over to that T side, they just seemed to go a little quiet, to be honest. I hadn't seen them like that today. You know, when we were watching them against fours, even in the nothing rounds, there was a 1 deke, there was a something, there was a nice little clip. But on Inferno, that really disappeared second half, so they'll be looking to just get a little bit of that magic moving the right way again, as they will get to start over on the T side of Overpass. Sprout opting to start CT side. And well, it looks like they've got a plan here, Dean. Smoke, 2 flashes for xCloud.
Yeah, everyone else is going to pick up the Kevlar, so it's standard enough here. Well, they're moving very, very slowly out of the spawn. I'm a little bit surprised by how slow they're actually taking it. Going for the standard peek in towards mid. Will he go for a bit of a B stack elsewhere? Gets you early info if they do move in this direction. If they go towards B, you've got the numbers. And well, that looks to be the case. And Spitty's actually fairly aggressive, but he's alone. And well, up close and personal against those Glocks, you're not going to have a great time unless you land the instant headshot. And it wasn't found for Spitty, unfortunately. Favin dinked up as well. A great early advantage here for Eternal Fire. And because they have still well over a minute here, they're just going to happily fall back, regroup, and reapproach the round in really whatever way they want at this stage. As long as they trade out successfully, it really is going to be tough for Sprout to get back in. And there you go. There's the finish on Favin.
That was the big kill. That opens up the A site entirely. The stack has to be called away, and the timing of that is key. They don't want to leave B too early and allow for a freebie. They don't want to leave A open for the taking, but it looks like that's the call that they're going to have to make with 45 seconds left on the clocks. Eternal Fire not making too much noise, just starting now with their execute. That smoke and 2 flashes will open up the A site. At that point, Sprout will have a call to make. It looks like that call may well be just to save what they've got. A couple of sets of armor. Raz has got a kit and 2 flashes. Big call as to how much of a go they want to give this one. They're a long way from the action. There's not really any way for them to break in easily. There's no smoke for the bomb, so that's it. The call is made. So just back out of this pistol to just concede it evenly. Eternal Fire, with only 2 kills in the round, will have their first victory here on Overpass.
Yeah, not really having to do too much for it. We do unfortunately have a bit of a dropout, I believe, as well on this side of Sprout, because you can see we have double keys.
2 keys.
Yeah, 2 keys. It's always good to have a backup just in case you lose one, otherwise you get locked out. So a good round from Eternal Fire. Not even really taking any damage. I don't think they took any from bullets, did they at all? I believe the 12 that xCloud took was actually from the bomb as well. So as flawless really as it could be, and that's what they needed. We said avoiding the strong start for Sprout was a necessity after what had gone down back on Inferno, where for pretty much an entire half Eternal Fire just couldn't find themselves around. They needed to make sure that that wasn't going to happen again, and that they weren't going to kind of carry on with that at least into the early stages of Overpass, and they've avoided it for now, as long as they don't go ahead and mess up against the Force by here.
Don't be jinxing things, Dean. Of course, we are waiting, and it looks like we have successfully got that second player back into the server. Indeed, we have.
That's not
HUD
right.
needs a little bit of a
Xantares on the
refresh
CT
because
side with an AK.
Xantares has, yeah, he's jumped ship, is what has
They
happened.
wish they had
now.
Xantares, and they wish they had the AK.
It's one of those things. It'll be fixed shortly enough. I'll start
Yeah.
calling as if Slacks is on the wrong team, but there we go. Slacks has got the scout MP9 3, 2 deagles and a 5.7 against a menagerie of rifles and SMG. Slacks knows being on that scout is a big responsibility, but he's missed the player tucking to his left-hand side and is very lucky to get away. Thought about hanging around there, and if he had, he would have been in a lot of trouble. Instead, looks to exit out long. Sets key up solo in the front bathrooms. Smoke will give him a little more room to breathe. Again, this 3-man stack down towards the B site, including Riles. You can understand it. Close wood on the MP9 as Slacks' scout shot is baited out. Information gathered for Eternal Fire is now key with that smoke starting to fade. Has got a decision to make. He's going to lurk around in it, but Antares is watching for exactly that. And all 99 in 2. Old Deagle does that. New Deagle doesn't quite finish its meal. Xantares clinging on to life. Should be easy food for Slacks, but he's going to bypass him for now at least. Starts to queue things up in the bathrooms. That CT side just starts to toy with the idea of a rotation. It's currently Immor alone outside of the B monster tunnel, just holding there to make sure there's no over-aggression on the refrag. Slacks does find a tag, but it's not onto the low HP Xantares. Instead, it's onto Xfloud. Xantares will be allowed to just charge his way into the site. He's pulling so much information. The bomb's still front bathrooms. Timing's going to be everything. Faven looking to swing. One bullet will deal with Xantares. Woxic still not confident about getting that bomb down, but the rotations are very slow from Sprout, and with 10 seconds left on the clock, it will be planted. There's good damage on the board, but Sprout don't know it. They don't want to commit on false premises, so they're going to have to bail out. Slacks going to be in trouble as he tries to do so as well. Immor will remove the scout, and this save starts to look very rough indeed for the CT side.
I mean, at least it'll be something. It will give them a chance to try and get some kills in the next round, but considering the damage they had done, it's unfortunate they weren't able to get a couple of finishes at least. It means that Eternal Fire will actually bring all 5 over. They're not going to have a single casualty here, and with that can be really happy with how things are going, to be honest. Xanthar is pretty fortunate to survive on the 1 health. Taken down, as you said, by the Deagle quite low. I think that's reasonable, though. It was a bit much when you get 2-shot to the body with the Deagle.
Yeah, it was a little excessive, and it made some of the automatic rifles feel a little rough. Is what I will say. But it does lead to some very painful situations. That's like the old 99 in 4, you know, where you've nearly done it. You've done all the hard work, and then you just need the wind to blow the right way to finish the job, but it doesn't quite happen. Leaves you with an MP9, a Deagle, and a 5.7 into round 3. 1 rebought by Key. Riles at the very least manages to save the defuse kit, so it makes it a little more viable. They've gone for this heavy con stack as well. Looking to play the headshot angle is Key. Instead gets his ripped off with the initial dinks. Antares looks to punish, and Key is there to make sure that's not quite as simple an affair as he would perhaps have liked. They charge the MAC-10 up Con as a response, and he does very well to get 2. Key again there to respond and at least keep it level in the 3-on-3, but HP advantages are there. Woxic now tagging down Spiddy as he looks to peek and maybe get something done, try and take just a little bit more pressure off of Key, but that's his life gone. And as Key tucks himself into the corner, it leaves Faven a very isolated figure. Both sites open for the taking, really. It's just a matter of timings, and as they head down, Key not close enough to that ladder to hear it. The timing onto this B-bomb site is going to get very rough indeed. Key switches out to the Deagle. Should start to hear these footsteps sooner rather than later. Faven plays Overwatch from heaven. And these timings are going to be everything. Utility is there for the T side. If they want it, they can lock out this site, and that's what they'll look to do. Smoke onto the mid site. Missed shot from Faven. The punishment is there. They smoke up short to try and make sure Woxic can get that bomb down, and oh my goodness. They just about take Key out of things as he does.
Well, I mean, even if he gets the kill, in fairness, it's not like he's going to survive there after running out into the open in order to get the kill, so it was a bit of an awkward situation for him no matter what. But yeah, it's the 3-0 start for Eternal Fire. That one, at least, is a round where they do sustain some damage, so Sprout can be happy with getting something done there. But still, even if they win out this one, there's enough money for a buy to be scraped together for Eternal Fire. So they'll have the chance to keep the pressure on. And, well, obviously, this first gun round is only kicking off, so they could just straight up take it. And maybe keep on building this early lead on the T side, which would be fantastic. As you said, T side, where they do tend to shine. I like that we're getting the double headers today. We're getting the stick with teams. We got the same yesterday with a double serving of 4s today. The Turks being featured twice on the stream, and while Xantar's very early on being taken down there as they tried to move in for the mid control. Quick pick being found, and well, immediately with that, then Key is happy to just back away. He's looking pretty crisp here in the early stages, I've got to say.
Lovely opener for him. First time we've really seen Sprout with the rifles. They would have wanted to have that kind of impact. Bait and switch setup now deployed. Slacks sets himself on the angle. Key covers for Divider. It's a rough setup to try and hold for an extended period, though. It leaves you very vulnerable to one and dones. Immor on 43 will swing this angle. There's the frag from Key, but now Slacks With his position likely known based on that contact, has to do something. He swings right into the awaiting arms of Woxic, and there's Calyx to rip it apart. The setup decimated in a matter of seconds, and with the long push coming in, Rals is stuck between a rock and a hard place. The flash is inch perfect. X-Cloud doubles up. And the first rifle buy goes by the wayside. Spiddy, you even want to commit to this, mate? A 1v3 with no utility. No real damage either. X-Cloud's taken a couple ticks, but nothing significant. And that is the exact problem with that setup. You could see Slacks knowing that they could be flanking him from so many angles. He's got to post up on something, and Woxic was just there, ready and waiting.
Yeah, nice little catch by Spiddy. Time's already ticking away, though, so he doesn't really have the ability to win out this round anymore. As you can see, he is happy enough to just fade away now after at least taking a kill with him and making it a bit more costly. But, yeah, I mean, just straight up brutal entries coming in from Eternal Fire. Looking fantastic here on Overpass, but also it does seem like Sprout are lacking a small bit. They haven't got the same level of experience in playing this map as Eternal Fire do. And in general, Eternal Fire, they just tend to stay very, very busy. They have a lot of maps played over the past few months in general on HLTV. 16, I believe. Yeah, in the past 3 months on Overpass, and that's not even close to being their most played map. It's actually their second least played map. Well, unless you count Ancient, which is their insta-ban. They do avoid that one. Yeah, it's a single M4 alongside some pistols for Sprout to try and take at least the challenge here to Eternal Fire. But we should be looking at a 5-0 lead for Eternal Fire, and with that, they'll be set up fantastically, honestly, to just grind out at the very least a few more. And with that, have a very good T side. But honestly, if they keep up this, then things could be looking rough in general for Sprout. Good opening from Calyx. He's actually going to try and hunt down the second kill as Favin tucks himself in, ensures Calyx has to get up close and personal. And then with the Deagle is able to go ahead and drop him, stealing away an AK in the meantime, but he doesn't manage to make anything happen off the back of it. And now it's going to come down to the Deagles once again to try and get something done. Slacks in on long. He has two players on the hunt, not able to land any of the chances. Again, Eternal Fire just working together very well.
Just trading efficiently as a unit, right? And again, a little unfortunate for Slacks. If he has a rifle, maybe it's a little more, but not quite able to rein that Deagle in. And, well, as Eternal Fire start to prod and poke up towards A, Sprout will satisfy themselves with saving down towards B. They can keep that rifle for another round. That would be a big win. They're going to go for a little bit of a wander. Woxic remains posted on this con angle. He's going to swing into it as well. This could get very rough. Gets the dink, but nothing more. Rals wants to try and hunt it down. Wants to maybe grab himself a rifle. Maybe take that AWP away as well as Immor gets the bomb down over on A. That's irrelevant. Rals will start to think about what he can get done. The answer seems to be not very much. Hiding in plain sight. He's going to have presence coming his way, Immor and Xantares. Needs to be a little careful. As armor, an AK would be worth saving behind it. Timing is everything on the swing. He gets one, but it's rough. The second quickly traded away. Immor, if he lands that first shot more cleanly, probably goes down instead. It's nice and smooth sailing. 5-0. Sprout take the time out, and they need to. The CT side needs to start functioning sooner rather than later.
That's rough. It would have been pretty useful to have an AK. Obviously, it won't impact them in general all that much since they still easily have the actual buy coming in, but it would have been a nice little bonus in what is going to be a very crucial round that they do need to win. They realise that themselves with this pause coming in. There's a bit of a chat about what can we swap up right now. And, I mean, in fairness, they haven't really done a lot with the B water control, for example. Maybe they could use that to challenge Connector a bit more effectively because they haven't been trading out as well as you could in towards there. We'll have to see. Slacks has the op and actually has a pretty good spawn as well. As does Favin. He's going to take it over towards long. They're both going to be peeking aggressively around A and in towards Connector, it looks like. So this could be what they need to try and alleviate some early pressure, get a pick in the opening moments, and with that then you can afford to play a little bit more passively perhaps, and Well, they're looking for it. I was going to say the Ops aren't really being given any chances. It's Key instead who again manages to pop off with 2 in mid. With the Oppo Woxic looking for the trade frag right now, all he needs to do is ensure that he doesn't re-peak and that they can hang on to this advantage. And with Spitty finding Emor, things are just not looking good in this round for Eternal Fire. It's a good round, a good strong round from Sprout that they need to kick things off with. Ideally keeping all 5 if they can as well.
Yeah, don't want to be losing much more to these 2 remaining players, Woxic and Calyx. It's interesting, isn't it? Because the economy's still not perfect for the T side. It's decently enough established that they could afford to throw these bodies at it. I could also understand the scenario where you wouldn't want to, with 55 seconds left, a 2v5 with limited map control. They're going to have a little bit of a poke in towards short, see what they can see. Calyx and Woxic just clearing the initial angles. They have enough utility to plan and execute, if that's what their hearts desire, but as we get to 35 seconds left, it looks like we're in for another James slow one. They'll just back themselves into the corner, and yeah, 2v5. The problem is they've just got no control. They've got nothing to work with, so throwing those rifles away for no real reason doesn't make logical sense. They haven't got enough economy to just be looking to do economic damage, and to do real economic damage, you need to get at least 3 kills, which you're likely not going to get. So they'll satisfy themselves with a save. Sprout will be on the board, but the buys will keep coming for sure from Eternal Fire.
Yeah, it definitely won't be an issue. Somehow Xantar just hasn't built up any sort of economy for himself. Interestingly, also, they haven't got all that many kills, considering they're up 5-1 right now. Able to win quite a few rounds, obviously, where they just found brutal entries very swiftly on towards the bomb sites and just kind of had shut Sprout out before they could really consider even going for it. So it can sometimes show how dominant you are in these rounds, despite having less kills than you'd think. As a deep molly goes in, that's understandable. It's been an area of focus in all of these rounds pretty much so far for Eternal Fire. They've always had a player lurking around in towards middle. Other than this round, where they actually look to instead focus things on towards B. The op boosted up though for Favin. It might be in the perfect position to grab a pick and just fall away to give them this early advantage. And no! What is that from Xanthars? How the hell does he spot him?
They go quickly off the back of that as well. They've got the short control, man out monster. Smoke timing is good. The jail player's isolated as they start to swing. Raz does very well and actually manages to double it. Woxic spotted out towards short. They'll be screaming for the rotate now. Raz looking for even more. Has to switch to the USP, and Calyx running and gunning will deal with him. Spitty quickly there for the trade. I don't know how Sprout have dug themselves out of that hole, but they have. 2-on-3, Woxic and Xfloud this time to try and survive it. 55 seconds left on the clock. That molly is unreasonably intelligent. All 3 players now technically trapped in the lower site. Slacks couldn't afford to rotate just yet. We'll start to think about it now as the T side do slowly and meticulously work their way through the bathrooms. It's going to be a real timing on the board here because he's going to get up just as this exec comes in. And how hard do you want to commit that AWPer into the angle with close players? He does very well to deal with Woxic, and now Xfloud with the bomb drop deep behind him knows he has to hunt this first man down. Slacks, team flash in, won't quite connect. He'll be taken down for it. Too many players look to group. Xfloud bomb in his hands. He's going to tap it once, trying to bait them in. He baits both, and they both swing together. Intelligent play from Sprout. It's an expensive round. They lose 3, but considering that initial shot from Xantares, they will be glad they managed to wrestle that one back.
Ideally, though, it could have been a little bit cleaner, but important thing, as you were saying, is that the round is taken. And while they're running the economy down finally, there's enough for the 1 buy still there for Eternal Fire, so they have everything for this round, but it's cost them all of the reserve cash at this point. Only Woxic has a small bit left over. So this is a round that Eternal Fire need to pick up if they want to keep this very decisive lead going. Otherwise, Sprout are probably going to bring it towards 4. So a very good opportunity after what was a weak starter on Overpass from Sprout. Can they capitalize, though, is the question. As things are taken quite slow, I've got to say, by Eternal Fire. Not in much of a rush. Holding very passive at the back of connector. I believe there was a player just kind of sitting on the ladder for a while and continues to do so. Waiting for the rest of his team to get ready to move in towards mid. So you can see they're actually quite methodical here. We said they're a bit more of a puggy team. It doesn't really seem to be the case on Overpass, as Slacks doesn't land his shot. Won't really be damaged up too heavily himself, but now they've got to worry about Calyx coming in through Connector as well, and he lines them up, only getting the 1 kill, at least in the initial spray down. When the swing comes in from Slacks, he's going to punish with an instant headshot. And now it's going to be a 5-on-3 that Sprout are feeling pretty desperate in. Spitty positions himself aggressively up close in Guardian, or at least in behind the... How much can he reasonably get done from this position?
Needs a lot. Big call for that setup to be made. He gets one, but it's immediately traded out by Emor, and now they know that A site is very vulnerable. Faven on secondary AWPing duties, desperately trying to make the rotation up. Will spot both, won't land either. A site under absolute siege. Xfloud catches Faven, no idea he was there. And this round is done. That was a big call for that 2-man con setup. The AWPs on a very rough angle there. Potentially would have liked to have seen a rifle at the top of that stack. It doesn't quite work out for them. And as soon as that first man goes down, they just know too much. They know the second player's in there. They know that the A site has to be limited in its defense as a result. Calyx, well, he takes full advantage as Hernal fire right at the moment you were starting to think that maybe Sprout were building back into this CT side. They strike.
Yeah, and do so with, importantly for themselves, 3 standing. It means they can easily get their guns out on Woxic and Calyx as well and ensure that there's no weakness here, because within the 2 rounds that Sprout won, they did build up a small bit of economy. Enough at least for a buy to be scraped together here. Pretty decently, actually. I think an op has dropped the Slack side their way, but if they wanted, they could actually probably go towards the double op setup. Could definitely be something that they consider at this stage, with this round being incredibly important if they want to be on track to still have a decent CT side. And, well, with a pause coming in and with the buy being pretty slow right now, I would definitely say it's something that they're having a bit of a chat about.
Got to have that conversation. How many Slacks has been dropped in AWP?
And not looking like they'll buy the second.
Yeah,
just give over an M4.
I keep seeing it juggling around, and I keep thinking they've dropped it and they're buying it. No, they are going for the single.
Yeah, it's be hard to tell. I was just keeping an eye on his money. That's how I was able to track it down in the end.
Smarter man
Keeping
than
track
me.
of them popping up on the UI, it just doesn't work.
Smarter
it's all
man
over the
than
place.
me. Single up setup, 4 rifles, limited utility on several. Sprout aware that they need to keep the pressure on. They need, as you said, to get more damage if this is going to be a viable CT half on Overpass. Woxic, though, again getting damaged. This time it's Spitty. Picked off at the bottom of Connector. So he looks to get something done. And again, it leaves this CT side looking so disjointed. They're keen on the Connector play. But by committing 2 players into that angle, it leaves you so vulnerable elsewhere. And then if it doesn't work, it's disastrous, as you see in here. The B site's so sparsely defended. Raz has had to get aggressive on short because they don't have the manpower elsewhere. And as 4 players start to queue their way out Monster, it's going to be a 1-man band down on B, and that is going to be Raz looking to do it all alone. Faven, yes, he levels things out at 4-on-4, but the timing on this is disgusting. The molly not going to do anything at all. Emor all over the site before any damage is even done, and there's just nobody here, nobody home. Raz got to cover too many angles at once. It's a freebie, a gift of a kill. Slacks is going to try and do what he can, tries to be proactive with it, and Xfloud is ready. The punishment is immediate, and the CT side is in disarray as Faven and Key both look to just escape by any means necessary. They know they'll have to hold on to these rifles because this round is a goner.
Yeah, they were a bit desperate to move in for that retake there as well. Could have maybe even done with the 3rd weapon, having just been backed off initially. The 2, unfortunately, isn't really going to give them enough to ensure a full buy coming into this round here. And Eternal Fire now taking it up to 7. Probably going to have an 8 on the cards as well. It's just not looking good for Sprout. It seems like a map 3 is looking quite a bit more likely than I thought it would be. And as we said, Nuke is another one that I don't really know how it will go down for Sprout, because it is one of Eternal Fire's most played maps. They played it 20 plus times in the past few months. Sprout, on the other hand, have only played it 6 times, I believe, so the same amount of times as they played Overpass here, but they've been way less successful on it. And, I mean, they haven't really had a lot of success here on Overpass either.
Could be a very rough one to end up on. At the moment, this Overpass is looking rough too. Reinvest, no AWP at all this time. Key, again, trusted to make the big decisions. Aggressive on this fountain angle, spots the shadow of Zantara as he swings. There's the freebie. The follow-up is good. Xfloud will put him down, but it's a nice opening set from Key. A 2-for-1 that his team desperately need. Now they just have to trade efficiently and it's done. Slacks in towards the long bathrooms. Does cut a lonely figure. Rotation coming up from Riles is a long way away in support. So the timings on these plays will be critical. Eternal Fire, aware that they haven't cleared it, are not going to really show any face in towards the bathrooms themselves, only entering through Divider. Slacks starts to think about when he wants to aggress, but that timing is critical. Imor posted, secondary AWP, doesn't land the shot, but that's multiple bodies spotted. You can see Slacks starts to toy with the idea of going for it. Riles will flash out again, allow for Slacks to start creeping his way around into the backlines of this offensive. If he can get multiple kills, he secures the round for sure. The spray down's a little wobbly. He only gets 1, but good damage onto Calyx as well. With rotations coming in, that may well be enough, but Riles can't hold on to the site. Has to back off from the AK bullets. They haven't got the util to chip away at either of these players either. So as Calyx sets a very aggressive angle, if he could have got 1, it would have been enough. But Spitty and Riles once again combined to get it done, to get Sprout a critical 3rd CT round. It's not going to be over yet. The buy will keep on coming. But they need to start stabilizing this.
Yeah, they can't continue with the back and forth at all. And as you said, they're really good work on the flank, despite only being a single kill. Bit of damage, confirming that they were, at that point, making the commitment as well over towards A. It just helps out massively. And, well, again, they have the chance with just one more round to potentially crack down Eternal Fire. I was wondering what the hell was going on there with Woxic. I think he bought a sawn off for a moment. But it seemed to have been a little bit of a misbuy, so he threw that away, purchases up the AK, and, well, it did cost him a little bit of money, but it's not going to be the end of the world. I'd definitely rather him on the AK rather than sticking with it as a misbuy, as they changed this up. We haven't really seen a quick B play straight through Monster. Trying to make their way in towards this B-bomb site. No response in terms of mollies and such to slow them down. Instead, the CT's tucked in towards the pit. So far, no kill somehow coming through. Eventually, though, it's the 1-for-1 trade. And it begins to go the way of Eternal Fire. It's Woxic, rather, with 2. But you have Key, who's somehow made his way up short. And despite being mollied, will manage to just about get the smoke down in time to hang on to his life. And give them a chance now in this 2-on-2 retake. And, well, the health is looking pretty similar as well, with Calyx being low.
He's got this flank going, though. No idea. Xcloud gets it for free. And Slacks has some big questions to ask here. He even wants to commit at all. There's a lot of angles between him and this site. Spots out Calyx. Knows where Xcloud was, but that bomb is so far gone. Lands the first shot. He's got a smoke, but he hasn't got time. Xcloud will put him down for good measure. Again, the response immediate. A change of pace from Eternal Fire. This time gets them a guaranteed lead at the half. And the problem is, these isolated rounds continue to just break the economy of the CT side. They give Sprout nothing to work with at all. They're going to buy into this one, but it will be rough again. Eternal Fire are capitalizing to perfect advantage.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, as you said, just kind of constantly knocking their loss bonus down a notch and being forced to bounce between full buys and these weaker investments as well. This one, not the worst in fairness. They actually have 3 M4s. Nades severely lacking though, and, well, in a few cases don't have the helmets either, which normally wouldn't be too much of an issue against the AKs, but you do actually have a Galil and a Mac 10 in play, so they'll be a bit more favourable now without the helmets on the majority of players. Boost up in towards the playground, not really going to be coming to much as of now, but they are actually on the CT side stacking around the bathrooms a bit. I believe then Ral's also posted up around the kind of the wall rather, so that you can help them out once they find contact. So taking a little bit of a gamble. It's what I like to see, especially with how weak this buy is in general. They couldn't really afford to just play a standard They're actually going to charge 2 players out Monster as well. That was a bit of a wild one. I just seen that on the radar. They just started going forward out of nowhere, and Emor just raised them down with ease.
All too easy. This is starting to fall apart for Sprout. This is starting to look nervy. Riles will get one, but the trades again are good. He left to contend with a 1v3 from all the angles. Immor will be the one to put him down. It's a team effort, though, from Eternal Fire. 9-3 the scoreline. Looking far more confident on the T side of Overpass, you have to say. Sprout barely registering a whimper at this point. In need of a violent change of fortunes if they are going to have an opportunity to stop this one before it goes to that nuke, which we've spoken about. We're not too sure where this ends up if it's nuke. Definitely doesn't feel like the ideal finishing spot for Sprout. We've had our reservations about Eternal Fire as well. This one a half buy, handful of deagles. Default pistol for Spiddy, couple of flashes, heavy stack up onto A. In need of some damage. Handful of rifles could give them an opportunity to maybe make this a 10-5 half. Maybe look for a little bit more. They will be dreaming a dream right now. Bait and switch setup, but Woxic has already started to break it down. Key falls early. Faven and Slacks look to play the double long setup. They've got a third man joining them now in Riles, who has one of those flashbangs to get them round the corner. Multiple targets. Faven does deal with the first, but Xcloud is there. The response is immediate, and Faven out on an island will be taken out despite the flashbang. Spiddy, well, he only had the USP to begin with, gets a dink, but it's not going to be enough. Double digits in the first half for Eternal Fire. Look at the speed run things here on Overpass.
Yeah, they really are. This is a quick uptick in form, and they seem to be kind of capable of very quickly brushing off of first map losses. We've seen it before in the game versus Fours as well. Things don't go too well for them, they fall short or even just have a very poor time, and can quickly remember, okay, that wasn't our map choice, let's just play our game, and like that, believing that it will still work out. As we can see right now, it pretty much is 10-3 on the T side. They're making Sprout rather look like amateurs at the moment. And despite being back on the buy here for Sprout, if this doesn't work, then it's probably 12-3 without much of a fight being put up. Again, the change of pace. They're constantly going between these slow contact plays and the fast, quick bursts on towards the bomb sites. And Sprout just never really know what to expect. They don't know whether to use the nades early, whether to hang on and save them for when they truly need them then, or what to do, really. And that's what's strong right now for Eternal Fire. They're very unpredictable. And at the moment, they've got a few players peeking in short, with Sprout having absolutely no idea.
Timing's going to be everything. 2 spotted out as they cross. Raz will deal with the first, and it's a nice response from Faven as well. Utility to try and counter starts coming in, but with 2 frags down, it already looks awkward for Eternal Fire. Bomb on Calyx is back as he goes for a probe out Monster. Doesn't seem overly keen on committing, though, with 40 seconds left on the clock. Not many options left open to them, if we're being honest at this stage. They've got no idea what's been going on up on the A site. 30 seconds. It looks like they want to have a little bit of an explore, but again, in all honesty, you have to imagine this one is with a view of saving. Because there's only 17 seconds. There's really very little else they can do. They're going to give it a crack, though. Charging in. 2 players ready and waiting, including Slacks, who dodges the flashbang but can't quite land the shot off the back of it. Leaves him a little off kilter, as now he actually lets the first man go straight on through. Sacrifices his teammate, but the bait and switch works out. I think he completely missed it, courtesy of that flashbang. It's a 4th round on the board just about for Sprout, as they look to end their first half on a high, and they really need to here. They need to find this 5th.
Yeah. Still have a decent shot at it. Obviously, though, the buy there for Eternal Fire isn't really lacking after having taken a pretty dominant half overall. Their economy certainly wasn't as strong as you probably would have expected it to be. We do have Xcloud stuck on towards the Galil, which is unfortunate considering the performance he's been given so far as 17-4. But we'll see here with Key going a bit more aggressive on the Krieg as well. Not a weapon you see too commonly. Not anymore anyways. Especially not when you're on the CT side and going this aggressively. We'll have to see how it fares up close and personal now, with already a couple of players in towards the playground and a couple more moving in his direction as well. So he's going to find a lot of action here, and unfortunately doesn't manage to land anything at all. Instead, it's Slacks who takes out one with the shot on towards Calix, at least landing back on mid. With Key falling, they unfortunately don't get to take any sort of advantage off the back of it, and instead are kind of putting the back foot here, to be honest. Forced to give up all of that control around mid very early on without really being able to do a lot about it.
Another missed shot from Slacks, not able to get it done. That pick could have been key, would have restored the man advantage, given them a bit of breathing room, because currently Slacks is playing up on A solo. They've opted for the 3-man stack down on the lower site, and Slacks doesn't even have utility to stall as he looks to get aggressive with it. He's not got the smokes, the nades that he would need if he wants to make this play, and Zantares catches the timing. That's a wide open A site, not that they know it. It's last round of the half, and they're going to get a site for free. The CT still slow in their rotations because they've got no idea. They've seen this exact play where they double that down into B. So Fav and Spiddy and Riles are miles away from the action as that bomb gets planted. You can see the frustration in Spiddy. They have to give it a go. It's the last round of the damn half. But Eternal Fire have really upped the heat. Heading into this T side, they've wanted to show us what they were made of, and they are doing so in fine form here. The flash is out. Nobody shows any kind of face. There's not even a smoke for the bomb. They've got to take these fights. They know it. They swing, but the frags keep going against them. Favon will at least punch in a couple to up the stats, but there's just too many bodies, just too much time. 11-4, a fantastic lead for Eternal Fire as they look to cook up Nuke after the break. Asked for something more of Eternal Fire, and what a way to deliver. 11-4 at the half, a dominant T-side performance, all the pressure on Sprout, and a pistol that, quite frankly, Sprout need to win if they are not going to be looking at Nuke.
Yeah, I mean, even with the pistol round, I wouldn't be loving their chances, but I'm not going to completely count them out. We all know how CS can go. We all know what Sprout are like as well, where they can find a sudden uptick in performance out of nowhere. And that's not a bad start from Key. Catches the aggression up in playground. Woxic, he's going to be dropped in party, sorry. No parties being had, though. More on the dual Berettas. Calix has actually gone ahead and taken out Spiddy in the meantime. They're ready to go ahead and continue facing in towards middle. It's a wild spray-dough of those dualies. They don't manage to land, and well, now he could even be in a little bit of trouble. He calls in for the assistance from Calix, who at least does his job in keeping that player at bay, and with a kill in the meantime coming through for I believe that was Xantares, it's actually going to put them in a favourable position, so they're happy to retreat back and just play on these bomb sites. The problem is, they're beginning to lose B.
They've left it wide open, in fact, so Ral should be able to get this plant inside of the smoke. Problem will be escaping from that site itself, and yeah, Riles gets his head ripped off clean through the smoke, leaving Favon and Key to try and play this after plant. That's messy from Key, can't quite get it done. Favon, yes, he finds one, but there is so much more required of him. Bomb being diffused in the background. He'll get two, though, and Calix will be forced to come off it. Favon looking for the hero moment. Oh, he can't quite find it. One kill away. Inches away from breathing a spark of hope into Sprout. Instead, that number on the other side of the screen ticks up, and they are 4 rounds away from Nuke.
Damn, so close. You've got to be... Yeah, you've got to be a little bit disappointed that you take out probably the harder kills of the few while he's been peaked by multiple players, and then isn't able to get that finish, unfortunately, on towards Calix. It's the lifeline that could have given Sprout the opportunity to get things going here on Overpass, but I've got to say now, it's not looking good. They at least get a decent enough force buy here, so maybe if they can make this work, then they have the space to still potentially make their way back into this game with the comeback, but... yeah, with Eternal Fire playing as well as they are, and with a lead as massive as they have, it feels almost inevitable that at the very least they would be able to grind things out. We'll see. Maybe Sprout can grind them to a halt.
Be a little bit of a reach. They have got a solid enough buy, though, as you said. Galils, AKs. Slacks gets the scout. Riles takes the sacrifice to get the extra utility. They start to queue up over towards B. Nothing too intricate about it. He's going for a bit of a prod and a poke up banana. Everybody else really queuing up for the B hit. That fight between Key and Xantares could be critical. The CT smoke for now keeping him passive as Faven starts to sneak his way through this monster tunnel. Calyx only jump peeking the angle. Pop flash goes in. Doesn't spot anyone, but starts to spam away. Now Faven seen on the swing. Dealt with by Calyx. That's a big opener. Molly goes in. Slows things right down. Pop flash is inch perfect. Eternal Fire just feeling this one. Raz is left. 1v5. It looks like he just wants to get out, but even that's going to be a stretch. He gets one. Ducks himself into the corner, drops his own smoke, desperately tries to do the dance of death, but can't quite tango. 13-4, Eternal Fire. This is a complete switch up. Dominant on their map pick. Nuke looking like an inevitability. Sprout will be down onto a half by a handful of Deagles. And at this point, economic damage is such a small part of the picture.
Seems like Nuke's inevitable, and again, I really don't know what to expect from Sprout heading onto it. The lineup that they had like 3 seasons of Premier ago, they were nuts. They were at one point flawless on it, I think, with like 15 games played or something. So it was a map that back in the day these Sprout lineups could play and were very, very good at, but it just seems like they haven't really been going towards it lately. And now with it being the decider in this series, you've got to be worried about how one-sided Eternal Fire are currently making this second map. Flash in. Woxic's going to stick around looking for a little bit of a fight. Not afraid. He does have that assistance as well from Connector, so the hope is that he'll be able to take enough attention so that his teammate can peek through as well. As you can see, Xantar is ready to pop up, and actually, well, that's the bomb. So, drops keys and confirms the bomb's around mid, and, well, then gets glocked in the face. That's never fun. Ral's on the Deagle is going to get one, rather. And thankfully, Woxic is going to go ahead and return a kill onto Faven and then spins around on Spiddy, which was a big find. If he went down to Spiddy there rather than getting himself the double kill, suddenly it's a 3-on-2 and, well, there's weapons in the hands of the Sprout players as well, so it would have been scary. And it still definitely could be here, despite Ral's being low.
I don't think I've ever heard a sound more terrifying than a man being triple dinked to death.
Like a second, literally. It's mad.
It's just dong, 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 and then he's down, but 20 seconds left on the clock. The problem becomes that Rals has got 6 HP, Slacks is 1 dink for an M4. Alex and him will have the utility. They have defuse kits. Rals will have to swing this. There's the freebie, and now Slacks is chucked into a 1v2 that is not favourable at all. 6 seconds. Wants to try and plant it open. Imor is on the flank. Lovely stuff. Well recovered from Eternal Fire, you have to say. Getting perhaps a little sloppy as they start to think about nuke before they should, but nice and smooth in the recovery. A 14th on the board, and this is it. This is all Sprout are going to be able to say. If they can't get this done, it will be nuke.
It's a similar goal, I think, to what Eternal Fire had back on Inferno, where you just want to try and get at least a few rounds in a row to put a bit of a halt to what has been a ridiculous performance. Deep Molly. You're going to just drop the smoke. Probably could have bypassed that pretty easily, but once they drop the smoke, of course, so that there's no vision as they make their way across. Reduce the info, but Woxic is going to go ahead and find some anyway, just charging out long. Smoke down. Unfortunately, though, he didn't expect Rals to be already pushing up as well. So he will end up being sprayed down, so the man advantage won't be held onto, and well, a 1-for-1 is honestly something Sprout are going to be feeling happier with. One of the better positions, I suppose, that they've had so far. Bar wasn't set massively high, as Emor very quickly shuts that one down. He doesn't manage to live with much health, but importantly, they do have the numbers in their favour, and X-Floud, he's been nuts this game, and, well, he doesn't look to really slow down. It was at least a good kill on towards Rals. It was a bit too much to ask. There would have been surrounded. Especially would have been the op of Slacks in behind.
Problem is, again, 2-on-3. Limited info about what's going on elsewhere. Rotation already in place. Xantar is well posted. Nice angle from Emor on low HP. He gets himself a second and a third. Looking crispy as he takes out Fathom. 15-4. And a 2v3 conversion. Not able to be found by Sprout to keep their hopes alive. It's just Eternal Fire cruising at this point. Sticking it in cruise control, in fact. So they look to dominate their map pick of Overpass, that third of Nuke. With this kind of a domination leading into it, starts to feel incredibly shaky for a Sprout roster who have not had enough reps on it, you have to say. The last buy, the last chance saloon is ugly. It's a scout, it's Galil's, it's a handful of AKs, and it's Key already legged up. Santara is lurking in and around the connector to support him. Toxic picks his angles. Slack spotted. Santara's knows there's two. He's a little unsure about swinging. If he does, it's Key. He's legged. Meanwhile, though, Riles has made his way all the way up long, and that starts to make things a little interesting now as this flank comes in. I don't think they're going to expect it this quickly. Indeed, Santara is caught a little off guard, whiffs his shot. Woxic then looking the wrong way, and this is more like it for Sprout. The seeds of chaos start to swing in their favor once again. Slacks is watching for the flank, deals with him, or starts to think about the second man on the flank as well. He knows it's Calix, but him and xCloud have actually found a frag apiece, and that is the bomb down. If he could just stay alive, then maybe there was something in it. Instead, it's the youngster. 1v3 required. Key on low HP, holding a nice crack angle. xCloud, that reaction time is unreasonable, but he's being flanked out. He has no idea. Fathom will put him down. Sprout will start to build just a little bit of confidence before that final deciding map.
Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy one, to be honest. They obviously had the players around mid who were just constantly pressuring, and we're just hoping that they'd be able to eventually get the kill so the Monster players could creep out Monster. To be honest, though, it had been open for a while because Eternal Fire had pushed up short instead. So it was just a bit of a gap in general that had been left in the defense right there for Eternal Fire, and I don't think they're going to let that happen again. For now, though, they are actually forced on towards an eco. They spend the excess cash, but it's not going to be a full buy. Shouldn't really be expecting them to get it closed out here and now, but, well, sometimes your expectations, they don't really matter. They might actually be able to get this one done. And AK even recovered for Emor off the back of that headshot, and it might force Sprout to move very quickly in towards this three-man setup on B, which could be pretty dangerous despite only being pistols.
Looks like that's the call. It's a nice crossfire setup, as you said. There's plenty of potential. And here it comes, right into the belly of the stack. Three players here. xCloud only a USP. Riles takes out his own teammate in the chaos, and now it gets very ugly. Calix can't rain the spray in. But it's 2-on-2, and with both of these players flanking, there is absolutely no way that's expected. They're setting up to exit the site, and it's going to mean Riles is looking the wrong way. Imor with the gun down into the back, and now Slacks worrying about the wrong side of it. Turns at just the right moment, but it won't matter. Woxic gets it done. It will be 16-5. They get it done with the half buy. Eternal Fire will be forcing us to that deciding map of Nuke, and what a way to do it. What a response. 16-7 is the scoreline on Inferno. 16-5 is the scoreline on Overpass. Eternal Fire getting it done beautifully.
Yeah, matching and exceeding it in terms of how dominant of a showing it was, and I didn't really expect it. Even though we knew it was a weaker map for Sprout, I thought they'd still put up a bit of a fight. We